Hey everybody, MrFlavorsmith here, and today we are going to do some modifications to our Weber 22-inch kettle on our cart system. And what are the modifications, you ask? It's the ChefsTemp Protemp S1 and the ChefsTemp Breezo. What are these awesome little things? Well, this turns your kettle into a smart kettle. That's right. It is Wi-Fi enabled. So you've got your thermostat right here, and then you've got your air fan right here. What happens is this is reading the ambient temperature. Also, it connects to their wireless probe system. So it's reading the internal temperature, it's reading the ambient temperature. Then if your desired temperature is too low in the kettle, it will increase it with introducing more oxygen into the kettle bowl area, which will then allow your coals to breathe and increase your ambient temperature. These products have gotten some really amazing reviews from lots of barbecue enthusiasts all around the world, and I'm really excited to give them a try. And of course, the way I like to put things to test, I like to cook something. And today we are gonna do Hawaiian Huli Huli chicken. I just recently did it for my family and they loved it. But before we get to cooking, we've got to modify this by putting a hole in there. We need to put an 1.25 inch hole in there, roughly anywhere from 1.25 inches to 1 3/8 inches. I'm shooting to keep it just under 1 3/8 inches, but 1 3/8 inches will work as well. So let's get to modifying this cart now. And the tools we're gonna need to get this job today are some masking tape. We are gonna use this to mark off our spot where we're gonna put our hole. We're gonna need to use a marker to mark everything off. A set of very affordable, low-cost calipers are really great to get. These are only a few bucks, but you can use a ruler or tape measure, something like that. We are gonna use, basically it's a little punch that just presets a little pinpoint spot for our drill bit. We're gonna use a pilot hole with this right here. And this is a 1/4 inch drill bit. We're gonna pilot hole for this 1/4 inch tip on this step drill that we're gonna then use to actually make our hole. And we're gonna go to about 1 3/8 inches. And then after we're done with that, if we decide that we don't wanna use it and we just wanna plug that hole up with the kettle, so we have this little silicone jobby right here that actually goes in and it will plug up the hole pretty decent. You know, we'll give it a shot for when we want to uninstall this unit, if we do. This is what we're installing. This is the S1, this is the ChefsTemp S1. This base piece right here replaces your factory Weber temperature gauge. So we're gonna pull that out of there and we're gonna put this one on there. And then this is a removable piece. This is the brains behind the operation. And this is Wi-Fi enabled. So this will actually hook up to your home's Wi-Fi network, as well as being Bluetooth enabled. And this is the Brizzo. So this is the piece that we're gonna put on there. It uses USB-C on both the Brizzo and also on the temp gauge right here. Those cables are included in the package. And then it's also gonna talk to its wireless meat probe. So we're gonna hook this all up right now. And this is kind of a unique piece. This goes inside here. So what we do is we just pull out this screw right here and we slide this in there. And this is actually what's gonna hold it to the bottom kettle in the hole. Let's go ahead and put that on right now. And for this piece, this is the only time you need the screwdriver. And what we're just gonna do is we're just gonna unscrew this. And it's just got a little nut on the back side right here. It just has this little nut. So just make sure you don't lose that. Unscrew this, pull it out, there's that little nut. So let's make sure we don't lose that. And then we stick this back through like this. But how we're gonna do that is we're gonna do it like this. First we have to put it in here. Okay, put a little pressure on that. Just get this in there, and this doesn't matter if it goes this way or this way, it really doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna put it on like this, and you just have to push that through there all the way and get it to go back in to the other side, just like that, and then we'll start screwing it back in. Just tighten it down all the way again, and there we go. And so this will close and this will go in the hole, and it'll hold, these will be on the inside of the kettle, holding this piece tight to the kettle. That's just how that works. So all right, let's get this thing marked up. All right, we're gonna take our lid completely off so we have working space. We're gonna take our grill grate out. We are gonna take our coal grate out right now. but we will need it in a moment. Okay, and so you want to make sure you know the general area that you are going to put your Brizzo. And the reason why I say that, it's very, very important. We want to make sure that we're below the grill grate. So we're going to mark that off in a second. So we need to be somewhere below the grill grate. We want to make sure that when the vents are closed and when the vents are fully open, that we're not in the way and it's not making contact. We also want to plan ahead to make sure that it works with the way we actually cook on here. So for me, when I'm doing an indirect cook, I always have my coals on this side right here. And so this makes perfect sense to have it over here. That way the coal and the ashes and stuff like that don't get inside the fan. Also, when I do my snakes for my long and slow, I always start my snakes right here and then they go around to here. So having it over here yet again is the perfect spot for that scenario. And that's how I usually cook my long and slow cooks. That's how I set up my coals, is usually indirect, or I'll do a snake. So for me, this is a perfect spot, but you're gonna have to plan ahead and know kind of what you're gonna be doing in the future before you just start popping holes in your kettle. Also, when you do get in that general area of where it's gonna be, you're gonna wanna try and clean that area up as best as you can, because we're gonna tape this off so we can mark the hole. So hopefully I've done it enough. That way the tape will stick to it. And for this, I'm just using white masking tape. And this doesn't need to last forever. We're just marking our spot. I think first thing I'd like to do is just mask where the grill is. The coal grate. We're gonna mask where our coal grate's at. All right. There we go. So we know we can't go above that mark right there. And there's our closed. So we know we're good there. Now let's open this up. And to be fair, probably do it right there and be fine. Okay, that gives me enough space. So we know we're good over here. So we're right here, okay? So somewhere right in the middle, I'm gonna say probably like right here. I kind of want to hug it over here a little bit. I think I want to hug more to this side. That way I don't have these coals when I do my snake or anything coming over here. So we're gonna hug it more over here. I'm gonna get up a little bit, and I'm kind of thinking right here. It's gonna be our spot. We're gonna mark it right in the center, right there. Now I'm gonna take one of these little press markers, and basically what this does, this puts just a little tiny divot in the metal. It just dimples the metal just a little bit. That way the end of the drill bit will grab that. You take it and you just push it in all the way. And I do it a couple of times. Just like that. All right, now it's time to drill our pilot hole. First things first, to get our gloves on. All right, we're using a 1/4 inch drill bit. Set our drill to drill mode, and we slowly start it. And once we get it, then push through and pick up the speed. There you go, and there's our pilot hole. Take our drill bit out. Then we take our step bit, and I've marked off where I don't want to go, and we're going to drill to 1 3/8 inches. All right, and the very tip of that is a 1/4 inch, same size as our pilot hole, so we'll just keep stepping it down. That was step 1. It hit step 2. Tighten up this. We're getting there. Step 3. Step 4. Now let's measure. It's safe to say we're at 1 inch. All right, so 1/4 inch more on this drill. The next step down is 1 3/16 inches. Okay, are at 1 3/16 inches. We have one more step to go. So we are right now at this point right here, 1 3/16 inches. All right, we are one more step to go to 1 3/8 inches. So we are right in between an 1 3/8 and an 1 3/16 inches, which means we are really close to 1 1/4 inches. That's 1 inch 250 thousandths, or 1 1/4 inches. So we're really close to that right now. Let me just see if I can get this piece to fit in. Like, I'm kind of thinking we're still gonna need to go a little bit bigger. Okay, we'll go down one more step. All right, I think that did it. Now we have to remove everything and clean it up. All right, and there's our hole. I'm gonna come at it the other direction just to clean it up. See if we can get this in here. Look at that. Perfect. Awesome. So now that'll plug that hole up when we're not using it. See it from the underside. There it is, right there. Not too shabby. I like it. So we just had to keep it kind of high. That way we didn't hit this too. I didn't even think about that, which I'm really happy this worked out the way it did. I think the placement's probably pretty perfect. So let's try and put this piece on and see how it looks. All right, I don't know if it really matters if it goes this way or this way, but for our purposes, we're gonna put it just like this. Yeah, I like that. So we'll pop our little rubber bushing out somehow. There we go. And then we'll take the 2 feet and we'll put it in there, and then we'll just kind of push this one down. Look at that. I'm not gonna lie. I was anticipating this being a lot harder to do, but that's pretty awesome. And this piece right here, this is magnetic, but there is your vent, and I'm sure it's gonna tell us more about that, but I have it open all the way right now. Not bad at all. Photo time. I don't wanna damage my lid, so I'm just gonna put this right there. And so we're gonna remove this and we're gonna replace it with the S1. Super easy to do. There's just a wing nut in here. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Probably gonna wanna hold it on the other side. Just it comes out just like that. Ooh. And then we're gonna take the wing nut off of the S1. So the reason why that's so thick is so it can go through a Kamado ceramic system. So not just for a Weber. Man, you can use this on so many different units. But we're gonna put the washer on this side, and we're gonna have the wing nut on this side. We're gonna put the temp base through over here, all the way through, just like that. We're gonna now throw the washer on, then we're gonna put our wing nut on, tighten down all the way. There we go. And there it is. The S1 is assembled on our lid. Whew, I gotta tell you, it's pretty cool. And then also, this is the brains. So this unit doesn't stay on here all the time. It only stays on here when you're using it. When you're not using it, you're gonna take it off, you're gonna take it inside, and you're gonna charge it. So you just push down and push to the left, quarter turn, and it comes right off of the hub, right there. And these little connections right here make contact with this, and so it can read everything. And now this is how you store your unit away. Put it back on, same thing. Quarter turn to the right, and you are set. Just get our alignment perfect the way we want it, just like this. Also, I was thinking about this. What's kind of cool is I don't normally read my ambient temperature on this side. I always read it over here on this side. So what I was thinking would probably be pretty neat to do is to maybe actually drill a hole right like here and have this unit right here. I know it's not perfect but it gets us a lot closer to the temperatures we want to be reading instead of right over the coals. So I'm kind of thinking maybe at a later date, I'm going to remove this, put the old one back on, and I'm going to pop a hole over here. And then this new home will be right here, right next to the vent. That to me seems like a more accurate place to actually place this, because like I said, I usually have it to where my coals are over here and I'm reading my temperature over here. Oh man, I might just do that anyway. Anyway, I'll think about it. I'll run it like this for this cook, and then next time we'll see. I might change it. All right, now it's time to get everything back together and sync it up. I'm really not sure who I was trying to kid. I can't put it back in that same hole. If this is gonna be the system that makes sense, it needs to make sense. So I wanna align it with this right here, and I'm thinking, you know, keeping my distance or something like right here. I think this is probably pretty good. I'm gonna move it just a little bit further over, right there. Put my little spot in there. Do it like 4 times. There we go. And we're using a 25/64 OD cobalt drill bit. Let's see what we do here. There we go. So the shank on this unit is 3/8, but we want it just a little bit big. That way we can get it in and out easily. There's our hole. We can just move this away, clean it up just a little bit. In there, good. Nice, it's gonna be close enough to get an accurate temperature. I think that's a better thing to do. Put our unit back together, slide on our washer, then our wing nut, tighten all the way down. There we go there. Good, let's see what the brains of the operation looks like when it's installed again. I'll probably be reading it like that. Perfect. I like it. Yeah. No, that's a good place for it. Now, normally when I do my cooks, I always have my lid like this. So I have my hot spot over here normally, where the coals are at. It comes up and goes over the food and then it exits out. So this is much better. And just to plug up this other hole, I never use this, but we'll put the old thermometer back in there. Yeah, way to go. I like the way that goes together. Pretty awesome. There's the Brizzo right there on the bottom bowl. And there's the ChefsTemp S1 brains behind the operation right there on the top. Let's get it all linked up and get these electronics rolling and get cooking. All right, first things first, get out your ChefsTemp user manual. All right, open it to, and I've never done this before, so you're doing it with me. The first page, and it has a QR code for an iOS and QR code for an Android. We are just going to hit that right there. It's taking us right to the Apple Store. We're gonna hit get, and then double click to install. All right, once you put your credentials in, it just starts loading. We open. All right, allow ChefsTemp to use your location, allow while using an app, allow ChefsTemp to find Bluetooth devices, allow. ChefsTemp would like to send you notifications. You're gonna wanna put allow. And then you're gonna sign up, so sign up now, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Just put in all your credentials. Then once you put in your credentials, they'll send you a code to your email. You're gonna need that. All right, and so here we go. We're just gonna open up the app. Now I've got everything all set up. Open the app up. Go to the home, and now we'll power on our S1. Right here, there's a power button. Turn it on. And it's searching for the device. Boom, and it's found the device. 124 degrees. 124 degrees. Now we want to operate the fan. All right, and then down here for the Brizzo, with the included USB-C male by USB-C male power cord that comes with the unit, I've attached it to a 10,000 milliamp power bank. And this thing, I tested it out the other day. It will run literally for hours and hours on a pulsating mode that this does. So now we're gonna turn this on. You press this button once, and it's pulsating. Now we go back to the app and you see the fan right here that says ChefsTemp Smart Fan. Turn that on. And then we go over here to the fan settings and it's on right now. We're gonna turn it off. There we go, now it's off. And then we'll come back to here. And this is our hub and we are set to go. We have not set the internal probe yet, but now it's time to set up the inside of this Weber 22-inch kettle for how we're gonna use it. And it's hot out here today, so in order to touch all this hot metal, gotta use some gloves. We'll take our lid off. We're gonna take our grill grate out. As you can see, we have the bottom vent completely closed, and that's because we have our Breezo fan right here. We're gonna put an offset coal basket in here. We're gonna put a drip pan in here. But we are first gonna cover it with aluminum foil, just like that. Reason why we're putting the foil in there is because this is gonna be pretty messy, really sticky teriyaki based sauce, and I just want the cleanup to be nice and simple. So all of our drippings are gonna burn to this foil and not actually our drip pan. Is this going to be limiting our airflow? Absolutely. Our fan is right here, so it's underneath this unit, but in theory, it should blow enough air through here through the bottom and come up through the coals to increase our temperature when we want to. I'm doing this as a test. We are going to do an indirect cook. We are gonna light lump coal right here, and we're just gonna light a little area, and then we are gonna cook this nice and slow, and then we're gonna bump up the temperature towards the end, increase the airflow through the fan, and hopefully that will get those coals nice and hot with lots of oxygen, and that'll increase our ambient air temperature, which will then exit out through the top. So I'm shooting to start off with a temperature around 225 to say 275 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna cook it for a sustained period of time, and then when I wanna bump it up, we're gonna increase that air with the fan. Hopefully we can get somewhere around 375, if not higher. So before we put our coals in, we're gonna use a little tumbleweed fire starter, and we're gonna put it right here in the corner. And then we are gonna pour our lump coal over the top. All right, now we're gonna light our lump coal with our Boy Scout match. That should be good. Put our grill grate back on. And this grill grate has a little flap right here so we can access our coal. Put our lid back on. Since our coals are right here, our vent is gonna be on the opposing side. That way the hot air comes up, goes over the meat, and exits throughout the top vent right here. And now it's sitting at 111 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna wait for this to get up to probably around 200 degrees, and then we'll bring the chicken out and put the chicken on. All right, so there we are, 203 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature. Let's go ahead and get the chicken on now. Take our lid off. And this chicken has been marinating for 24 hours in teriyaki. And we're using thigh meat, so dark meat for this. All right, it's all in there. And before we close it up, I just want to find somewhat of a hefty piece of meat in a good location. That's right here. We're gonna stick this probe in here. It's not gonna work really good on these size pieces of meat. So maybe I just need to move something around a little bit. We need a nice big piece. We need to go at an angle because we need to cover this probe completely. All right, and we'll take this piece of meat, we'll put this right here. We'll put our probe piece of meat right here. Put our lid on, and we will have 0.2 probably sitting about there, closer to the vent ambient temperature. So we'll be able to see two different temperatures coming out of there. Now let's get this cook set up on the app. And for that, let's see if we can start fan. There we go, the fan is started. Right there. Fan is running. Let's see, target temperature. We're gonna adjust that to 200 and we're gonna run 225 at first. Actually, we're at 225, so we'll go 250 at first. All right, 250. So the fan just turned off because we have reached, it's instead of a constant, it's just pulsating. So it's no longer doing a constant, it's just pulsating to keep things going. So it's wanting to get it up, it's at 243. It's pulsating to get it towards that 250. Let me show you what I mean about pulsating. So it's pulsating because now we're over the 250. Boom, and it just stopped. It just stopped because we're at 282, so it stopped the pulsating. I have this vent at 1 halfway open. I have the top vent fully open, and that fan has completely shut off just because we've overshot, but that's to be expected. Everything's lighting up. What I want to do now is I'm going to close this top vent to 1/4 of the way open. So it's just like that. And that'll limit the amount of airflow. And then we are going to we're going to set this up, set up our cook right here. We're going to go with poultry. We are chicken. We're going with thighs. 170, it says change doneness. So we can go through and alter it a little bit. And we're gonna go for a, let's see. Actually, no, we'll keep it where it's at. This is perfect. All right, and then you just hit start cook. Here we go. Insert the probe fully before cooking. Start cook. Keep your Protemp stand as close as possible to your cooker, grill, or oven to stay connected and boost the signal. Start cook. And we are going to start recording this cook right now. But before we start any cook, if you know, you know. All right, we're sitting with an ambient temperature of 329 degrees Fahrenheit, right there. And then we have an internal temperature of 129 degrees Fahrenheit. So what I'm gonna do now is, since we're kind of sitting there at that 129, I am going to bring out the glaze and we're gonna glaze them. All right, take it off. And we are using that Hawaiian Huli Huli chicken sauce that we whipped up earlier. I'm just gonna run a little bit over the top of each one of these like this at first. Then we're on a basting brush right over the top of it, trying to get everything as best as I can. We're gonna flip them, and we're gonna glaze the other side. Apply more sauce on this side. Baste it really good. It's really when we want to get that sauce on everything. Really, really good. Cover it back up. And we'll check our temps. Top temp, it says 185 degrees, 190. So it's adjusting pretty quick for the ambient. And it says we have an internal temperature of 120 degrees. And our app is telling us right now 252 degrees Fahrenheit on our S1 top temp and 120 degrees internal temperature. So pretty awesome. And our fan is not on. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let this sit for just a couple more minutes. That way that sauce can get on there nice and good, and let that set on that side. And then I'm gonna crank up the heat by engaging that fan, turning that fan on, and then we're gonna get this back up to that 370, hopefully 400 range. And then we will flip it as soon as that gets to that, and then we will glaze the other side again. All right, let's do another quick sauce. And then we're gonna flip it. Rub it all in. All right, let's flip them. All right, sauce them. Spread it around. All right, I'll just kind of push these away from the heat source because we are gonna crank it up now. See how those coals are right there? They're gonna be red hot in a minute. Back in our app. All right, 127 degrees internal temperature, 221 ambient. Let's crank this up. This is let's get all the way up to, say, 375. Right, like 378. We'll go with that. All right, fan should be kicking on. You can hear that fan. It is blowing. And it's going non-stop because it really wants to get that up to temperature. And it's rising really, really quick. See, there's your ambient temperature, 338, 343. All right, and the fan just stopped. Oh, now it's pulsating. So it's trying to not overshoot that target temperature of 378, 354. It's pulsating. I'm at 360. I imagine it's probably going to stop. 363, 369, 374. Still pulsating. Still pulsating. 378. It's hit its target temperature. Still pulsating. 381. Still pulsating. 385. Still pulsating. 388. Still pulsating. 392. Still pulsating. 399. Still pulsating. 403. So it went 30 degrees over and then the fan stopped. So I can see why it would be doing that. It wants to make sure that it gets just above where it needs to be, 20 degrees over, and then it's gonna stop it. That way the temperature will probably come back down in the next 10 minutes or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So 414 degrees, we were shooting for 378. It overshot by a solid 20. It's going up probably another 20 degrees above that, so 40 degrees, something like that. But the fan is completely off now, so it shut itself off. Now this should come back down. And we have an internal temperature of 130 degrees. We've still got another 35 degrees to go. And let's check out it's got its graph, and you can see right there. This is what's really cool, is that I am recording the cook right now, and it's showing our ups and downs. And so our ups and downs in the temperature are from when I've opened and closed that lid and then adjusted the temperature. So now it's going up. You can see on this graph right here, it's going back up. Very interesting. Super cool to have this type of analytics so you can track everything. And then you can set your high alarm and your low alarm, which that's pretty nice too. And so it has an audible that goes with it. There's our probe, elapsed time, 47 minutes. Pretty cool. So ambient temperature of 428, internal temperature of 133, and our target temp for internal is 170. Get back. Now you can see your whole board right there. You can see everything. You can see what's going on there. Awesome. Pretty intuitive little app. Nice and easy. Very easy to navigate. It's very readable. You're not confused on what's going on. So really, really cool. Good job, ChefsTemp. All right, approximately in 10 minutes, we're gonna come back and we are gonna glaze again on this side. And then we are gonna crank this temp up, I think even a little bit more. Then that's gonna allow us to get that bed of coals, that lump coal, nice and hot. And then we're gonna do a reverse sear on it. All right, so check this out. 10 minutes later, we have an internal temperature on the chicken of 154 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, we have an ambient temperature of 370. So that's really cool. It hit right where we wanted it to. Very, 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 very cool. So the fan is just completely stopped, and it is coming down to the temperature we were after. And now we're gonna glaze it one more time, and then we're gonna crank that fan really high up. Let's do it now. Quick little glaze there. Lesson learned: when you do this recipe, use a bottle that's got a wider mouth opening on there, a little spout, because the tiny ones just plug with all this deliciousness we have going on in here. It's just crazy. Taking it off, doing it a little different. Pour it in there. I'm just gonna baste it around. There we go. Okay, let's get these bad boys nice and glossy, nice and saucy. All right, we're gonna flip it one more time. Now you see the reason why we put that foil down there in that drip pan. This is a very messy procedure, but man, is it flavoricious, for sure. I'm gonna sauce top of these. Close it back up. I'm gonna open this top vent all the way. We're gonna come down here to the Brizzo. We're gonna open up that vent all the way. So this little vent piece right here is really cool. It's just magnetic. So you just stick it on just like that. So now that's open all the way, and we are gonna crank it. We are gonna crank it. Ooh, it just came on, but we're gonna take it even higher. All right. We want that fan, not at the target temperature of 378. Let's take it all the way up to max 400. All right, 400. It's gonna crank it to 400, and as we saw earlier, it overshot about 35 degrees, something like that. My math isn't all that great, but I think it was like 35, maybe 40 degrees, and then it backed off, and then it came down to its temperature just a few minutes later. Right now it's sitting at 255, so that fan is on full bore, going nonstop, cranking that temperature up. It's gonna hit our target temperature of 400. Right now it's at 277. We have an internal temperature of 140 degrees. We're gonna get those coals nice hot, smoking red fire hot, and then we are gonna throw these pieces of chicken right over the top and char them. So this is very cool, right at 390. As soon as it hit 390, it started pulsating again. So it went from a solid, just consistent fan blowing to pulsating. And now that it's overshot at 412, pulsating. So I imagine probably once it gets to 420, 430, it'll then probably completely shut off. Let's see if that's the case. Let me get down here. It just stopped at 442. It stopped completely, so it did exactly what I thought it would end up doing. Very cool. So now it's just gonna come back down to its temperature of 400 degrees, and then if it goes probably like, I'm gonna say, I don't know how far below your target temp it gets to before the the fan engages once again. And I don't think we're gonna have time to actually figure that out because we wanted this to get cranked up, and it is cranked up at 448 degrees. So awesome. Oxygen means heat over coals, that's for sure. You get that oxygen in there, those coals get nice and hot. Now that those coals are nice and hot, let's open this bad boy up and let's go right over the top and finish this off. Oh yeah, they're definitely nice hot coals. Yeah, this works out even better than I thought, because now that Breezo fan is just cranking away, which is just making those coals even hotter. So it is perfect for what I'm about to do. I'm just gonna let it crank. I want this to be hot. Skinny guys over, chunkier guys right there. There we go. Yeah, Breezo's really, this is working out great. Man, it is making it super hot down there. Works out really cool because that drip pan that's there with the foil and everything is really kind of sealed it off. So it's just directing all that air right underneath these coals. Working kind of like a hibachi type system. Look how hot this is getting. This is awesome. Exactly what we're after. Get a little char going. Perfect, those are done. Next one's up. Here we go. And that fan is blowing. I love live active fires, and I tell you what, Breezo is acting like a billow for like a forge. And hey, you know what? I am a flavorsmith, so this just kind of makes sense. All right. All right, I'm calling those ones done. Round 2. All right, last batch. One of these has the probe in it though. We're gonna take that out. We don't wanna burn the probe. There we go, right over the top. Let's get these bad boys nice and charred. Well, I want you to hear this Breezo just going. That thing is going nuts. It's awesome. Let's flip it. All right, that's gonna do it. Let's pull it. Awesome, great job, ChefsTemp. I am in love with this Breezo and this whole S1 controller, pretty awesome. Wow, this chicken looks amazing. Let's check it out. Boom, look at that. That is awesome, Huli Huli chicken. Let's go prepare it. Now it's time to sauce it up, put it over a bed of rice with a little bit of pineapple. The last piece that we just have to throw on the grill just to do a little bit of flavor stacking is some freshly cut pineapple. So we're gonna grill these up real quick. Start by putting them down right here. We're gonna glaze them. This is freshly cut pineapple. A little sauce on there. Around. We're gonna put this directly over the coals. Try and see if we can fit them all in here. Lay a little sauce over this side. see if I can get that fan cranking on again. Plug it back in. I can manually turn this on. 2 presses of the button. There we go. This will bring those coals back to life real quick. Let's take a look at this setup real quick. I love it. All right, so we've got our battery pack powering on our ChefsTemp Breezo. It's blowing the air. It's coming up right there under that pan right there, but it's being pushed this way and it's hitting our coal basket, bringing oxygen right over all those coals and just increasing the temperature. This is working so cool this way. I love it when things just kind of come together, and ChefsTemp did that today. Good job. All right, let me tell you what I did. So I had to go pick my son up, right, from daycare. So I just put the lid on there. I closed the bottom vent on the Brizzo. I closed it all the way, so there was no oxygen coming in there, or a little bit. And then I closed my top vent all the way, and I just kind of killed the coals out. And I went, and I was gone for maybe 25, maybe 30 minutes. I came back, I opened everything back up, got that fan going, and it just billowed all those coals, got them all nice and hot. And we're cooking pineapples right now. So really cool system to be able to kind of, you know, just pause it for a second, let your coals just sleep, you know, just take a little nap while you gotta go run some errands, come back, and then get them cranking. Way to go, ChefsTemp. Making my life easy. All right, let's do a flip. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're getting some cooked pineapple going here. Apply a little more. Let's say it's time to pull these bad boys. Oh yeah. Look at these. All right. Some barbecue pineapple. All right, here we go, it's done. Hawaiian Huli Huli chicken. Look at that. That is amazing. What do we have on here? We have boneless, skinless chicken thigh, doused in that Huli Huli sauce, that Hawaiian Huli Huli sauce, over a bed of rice, sitting on top of a grilled piece of pineapple. Let's bite in and check it out. Here we go, piece of chicken with a piece of pineapple. A little bit of rice on there. There it is. Here we go. Yes. I tell you what, that right there, my friends, that is flavoricious. That is so good. With the lump coal on there, that hardwood lump coal gives a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. Obviously, that Hawaiian Huli Huli sauce is out of this world, packed full of flavor. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's bold, it's garlicky, but it's just amazing. That's a great sauce to put over chicken. Combine that with the rice and the barbecue pineapple slice. That barbecue pineapple slice is delicious. Glaze it with that Huli Huli sauce, put it over the coals. Man, I tell you what, this came out great. How do I feel about ChefsTemp and their whole little ecosystem of not only temperature monitoring, but also temperature control? Tell you what, this little device right here, this is pretty awesome. On its own, it's cool. Combine it with the Brizzo right here, combine it with this, man, you have a really awesome powerhouse system that will convert your kettle or your Kamado, or basically anything you can pop a hole into if it doesn't already have one. You can control it. It's, talk about a game changer. It's awesome, it's convenient, it's adaptable, and you can just pop this off and put it on another system super easy. And then if you have the hole in your system, like on a kettle, you know, you've got that hole that you installed, plug it up with one of these little temperature plugs right here. that allows you to, a temperature port that allows you to put in wired probes and everything like that. Just plug it up with one of those and you're good to go. There's not enough air that can get through these little tiny spots that will change your temperature on your kettle at all. So it's a great little solution. It's an amazing ecosystem. I'm really, really happy I tried this ChefsTemp out. Thank you to ChefsTemp for sending this out to me. They did contact me and asked me if I wanted to do a review on this, try it out, and I tell you what, I'm really happy I did. This is gonna be going on one of my Kamado systems, my ceramic Kamados, right away. I have 2 of these systems and the other one's gonna stay on this grill. Is this the right system for you? I don't know. You're gonna be the one that knows that. Hey everybody, if you got any value out of my content at all today, please do me a huge favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. It really helps me produce more valuable, flavorful content like this for you in the future. And until next time, live a life of flavor.